Unknown 9. Now you may say, Unknown 9 Awakening? I've never heard of this game. Well, believe it or not, this is either a double or triple A game. And a big one. We don't know how much it was going to cost to make. I haven't found information on that yet. But why do I talk about this? Well, it's the latest DEI video game to come out on the market and try to push themselves for the diversity and all the things. And it failed miserably. Before we read the main story, let me give a shout out to today's sponsor. It's American Financing. They're very nice. They're very nice people, and they give me a very nice script. I don't just want to rattle off a script. I'll read it, but what I do want to say beforehand is that companies like this, because I worked for one, they take all your bills, they use equity in your home, they refinance everything, they use that extra money you have to pay off all your, credit cards, maybe a last little bit on a car, maybe some student loan or something or other, and they make that payment and it shrinks your outgoing payments every month, and it saves you money when it comes to your monthly outflow. Then you can take that extra money and do something with it, or you can just pay down the new loan faster, only having one check to write versus lots of them. I think it's something to look into. I worked for a company like this. We did good work. A lot of people thanked me for the work that I did when I worked with a company like this. So it's something to definitely check out. They say today's economic environment is still really stressful for a lot of people, but with the Fed finally dropping interest rates just a little bit, 50 basis points, there's no better time than now to put you and your family in a better financial position. If you're a homeowner, American Financing is helping thousands of families just like you've been putting everyday expenses on credit cards to get out from underneath that debt by tapping into their home equity. American Financing is saving their borrowers over $800 a month on average. $800 a month is like getting an extra $10,000 extra money per year or a raise at work. And it costs absolutely nothing to find out how much you can save. They're closing some loans in as little as 10 days. And if you start today, you may not have to make next month's mortgage payment. There's no better time than to turn your situation around. Call today, 1-866-889-5022. That's again, 866-889-5022, or you can visit americanfinancing.net/bachelor, and you'll know you're on the right page when you see my little symbol over there. So thank you for today's sponsor. And I'm going to, before I read down through this, let me give you some links. Some links. This is Sweet Baby Inc. Detected. Now, this is on Steam, and this has 450,000 followers, and this is a channel that all they do is they point and call out games that Sweet Baby Inc. and other woke, what these companies do, like Sweet Baby Inc., is they basically threaten game studios. They say, hey, you need to hire us and make sure that you don't have any problematic this and that you have diversity and you have XYZ. And if you don't, we're going to put publication out there that you're problematic and we're going to cause problems for your studios, and then people are going to boycott or people are going to protest, and you don't want that. So you want to hire us and we'll come in and we'll fix your games, make sure, they're diverse and all the things. And so they do. And as soon as they get involved, this person on Steam, as well as many other sites out there, say, okay, we're not going to buy your game. You're giving money to activists. We're not going to buy your game. And so the Sweet Baby Inc. Detected is literally an account on Steam that posts about the games that are doing this stuff. Here's Unknown 9 Awakening. This is on the Steam discussion board. This is under general topic discussions. This game needs to flop harder than Concord. So Bamco doesn't even consider doing DEI, let alone hiring consultants like Sweet Baby Inc. Bamco has so many beloved IPs, it will only infect those later. And this is quite a long thread about people talking about the fact that Sweet Baby Inc. is in on this stuff. Well, we'll jump into the main story here. Unknown 9 Awakening arrives to 200 Steam players and poor reviews. Now, did I save... Let me drop my screenshots in here to the story, and then we'll get to those here in just a moment. Bandai Namco has just released a brand new game, but if you had no idea, I wouldn't blame you. That would be Unknown 9 Awakening, shown off through an Xbox partner review or preview 7 months ago and out today. Now, out today is 3 days ago as of now. There's been much industry talk about the death of AA and AAA games, which you could classify Unknown 9 as, but it certainly is not exactly making a strong case for a change in perception. The game has arrived with poor scores, a 63 on Metacritic, a 5 from IGN. You can't really gauge its Steam reviews because there's only 13 of them so far, reflective of a game that has launched with just a few hundred players, 224, as I'm writing this article. That's below Concord, sub-Concord levels. Yes, Concord is a unit of measurement now. Now, if you don't know what Concord is another one of these games that cost $100 or $200 million to make that I think came from Sony. It got released and like maybe 1,000 people played it, and then they had to shut down the servers because there's not enough people playing it. They say, yes, this is a new IP, a smaller scale game, but one that still costs $50, which seems like a steep asking price, and it does not appear to be terribly good. The game has also become the target of some level of DEI culture warring, but I'm not even going to dive down that rabbit hole. Well, he doesn't want to, but I will. Now, let's look at this latest game. This is Unknown 9 Awakening, and the number of people playing a $50 game. $50 game. It's got 203 people playing an hour ago. It hit 273 people in its 24-hour peak, and its all-time peak is 276 players. Now, this is ranging in one day from October 18th to October 19th, right after it released. This is release day stuff. There is one game shop, like a GameStop. There's one GameStop that has probably sold more copies of, I don't know, Grand Theft Auto 5 on disc than more games. Now, let's take a look at what a modern double or AAA game looks like. Remember, the peak of all time, 276. Okay, this is Black Myth Wukong. I've played this game. I have it in my library, and I have not finished it. It's a good game. This has been out now for a month, maybe more, 2 months, something like that. When I took this snapshot last night, there were 140,000 people playing. Its 24-hour peak, 186,000 people playing. Its all-time peak playing at the same or in the same 24 hours was 2.4 million people. In 24 hours, right when the game released, were playing Black Myth Wukong, I think a $60 game. I think it was $60 game. So in a $50 game, 276. That tells you the level of how bad these games are failing. This is another review. A failed implementation to a fantastical story. Again, I'm not going to read down through this, but this is from an offsite named B-Bomb Score, and it's a bad game. It's just a bad game. But they also included the DEI in it. At some point, these game companies have to understand DEI. If you have any of these companies that have DEI associations with them involved in your game, people are just going to say no. They're going to say no because they assume it's bad, because they're tired of the message. But they also say, oh, you're going to pay that other company, Sweet Baby Inc., to help you? I'm not going to give you any money. You can drown in your own debt for all I care. And I found this is on a channel. This is on a channel called Andy Pants Gaming. Andy Pants, all one word, gaming second word. It's got 175,000 subscribers, so quite a decent-sized gaming channel. I'm not going to play this whole video because it's 18 minutes. But he said, you can see on his thumbnail, I think it said it. Anyway, he talked to somebody in Ubisoft. He talked to a programmer and somebody that worked in Ubisoft, because Ubisoft is woke. They've lost so many people, so many good programmers, and now they've gone so far down the inclusion chain that almost nobody wants to buy the games anymore. And so his story, the real story behind Ubisoft, if you want to watch this video, I'd suggest watching it. It's a well-produced, quality video, probably better than anything I've ever put out. But it's a good video. And he specifically says in this thing that programmers back in the day, all they cared about was making a good game. And he talked to somebody in Ubisoft. That's the point. It was an interview with somebody in Ubisoft. So the Ubisoft employee said, we used to just make games. And then they wanted diverse people in. Doesn't matter if they're the best, you just need diversity. So when somebody would leave or somebody would get fired or somebody would relocate for another job, they'd bring in somebody that's diverse. And the problem with doing that is now everybody else has to work a little bit harder to cover that one person's failure. You see what I'm saying? Because they're not the best in the industry. And then somebody else leaves and they fill with another diversity and another diversity. And before you know it, 15 or 20% of your company's full of diversity. And people get tired of it. The engineers that are, or programmers or whatever, that are busting their butts to get good quality content out, they're the ones doing all the work, because the new hires that are the diversity hires, they don't know everything what to do. They don't know what they're doing. They're not the best at what they do. And so the good people have to cover for these new hires. So more good people leave. And then more diversity hires come in. And at a certain point, all the good or most of the good people have gone, and you're only left with diversity hires, or the programmers that do know what they're doing are kind of in on the woke train, because these are girls and they like girls and they want to try to date girls and they simp for girls. And so they keep working there. And so you end up with very little talent and a whole lot of propaganda, basically. So that's what's happening to these companies. It's another failure. And I do like to call these out and talk about them, because it does show you that these companies will fail. They will fail. They can keep throwing bad games up against the wall. People have other things to buy. You know, people read reviews, people watch videos. And it's not like back in the, I guess you'd say back in the Nintendo days, where you'd see, I don't know, a commercial for a game and you'd be like, oh, that sounds awesome. And then you get it home and find out it's a pile of crap because you didn't, buy the latest Nintendo Power magazine. Now I can just go to YouTube, type in gameplay or type in review of whatever game, and get some real honest reviews. I can see the game in action, somebody playing it, and they'll give you their honest take. These companies can't get away with this anymore. They can't, and they're going to keep failing, and I am completely here for it.